لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ياسين القرآن الحكيم إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم. تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما أنذر آباؤهم فهم غافلون. لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون. إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون. وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فاغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون. وسواء عليهم أأنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون. إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم. إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين. واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاءها المرسلون إذ أرسلنا عليهم اثنين فكذبوهما فعززنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون. قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء إن أنتم إلا تكذبون. قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين. قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب عليم. قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوما مسرفون. وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون. وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وعليه ترجعون. أأتخذ من دونه آلهة يردني الرحمن بضر لا تغني عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون. إني ظل في ضلال مبين. إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون. قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون بما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المكرمين. وما أنزلنا على قومه من بعده من جند من السماء وما كنا منزلين. إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم خامدون. يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون. ألم يروا كم أهلكنا قبلهم من القرون أنهم إليهم لا يرجعون وإن كل لما جميع لدينا محضرون وآيات لهم الأرض الميتة أحييناها وأخرجنا منها هبا فمنه يأكلون وجعلنا فيها جنات من نخيل وأعناب وفجرنا فيها من العيون ليأكلوا من ثمره وما عملته أيديهم أفلا يشكرون سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون وآيات لهم الليل نسلخ منه النهار فإذا هم مظلمون والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالأرجون القديم لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون وآيات لهم أنا حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشأ نغرقهم فلا صريخ لهم ولا هم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاعا إلى حين وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آيات من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا نطعم من لو يشاء الله أطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في الصور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا محضرون فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم وامتاز اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أعهد عليكم يا بني آدم ألا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد وعد الله منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تعقلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لطمسنا على أعينهم وسبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون ومن نعمره ننكسه في الخلق أفلا يعقلون وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وذللناها لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند مهضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم ير الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة وإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحييها الذي أنشاها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وعليه ترجعون صلوات اللهم صل على محمد آل محمد परवरदिगार बहक मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद इसका सवाब मौलाना फाज़ल मुस्की के जो भी अजीज़ व अक़ारिब हैं और असद भाई के जो अजीज़ व मरहूमीन हैं हमारे जो मरहूमीन हैं जो यहाँ पर मौजूद हैं मोमिनीन मोमिनात उनके तमाम मरहूमीन को साले सवाब करते हैं परवरदिगार उनको रहम फरमा और हमें बख्श दे मालिक बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبقوتك التي قهرت بها كل شيء وخضع لها كل شيء وذل لها كل شيء وبجبروتك التي غلبت بها كل شيء وبعزتك التي لا يقوم لها شيء وبعظمتك التي ملأت كل شيء وبسلطانك الذي على كل شيء وبوجهك الباقي بعد فناء كل شيء وبأسمائك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء وبعلمك الذي أحاط بكل شيء وبنور وجهك الذي أضاء له كل شيء يا نور يا قدوس يا نور يا قدوس يا نور يا قدوس يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحت كل اسم. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل النكم. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تغير النعم. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحبس الدعاء. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تقطع الرجاء. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل البلاء. اللهم اغفر لي كل ذنب أذنبته وكل خطيئة أخطأتها. اللهم اغفر لي كل ذنب أذنبته وكل خطيئة أخطأتها. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب اللهم اغفر لي كل ذنب أذنبته وكل خطيئة أخطأتها. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك بذكرك واستشفع بك إلى نفسك، وأسألك بجودك أن تدنيني من قربك، وأن توزعني شكرك، وأن تلهمني ذكرك. اللهم إني أسألك السؤال خادم متذلل خاشع متضرع تسامحني وترحمني وتجعلني باسمك راضيا قانعا وفي جميع الأحوال متواضعا. اللهم وأسألك سؤال من اشتدت فاقته وأنزل بك عند شدائد حاجته وعظم فيما عندك رغبته. اللهم أعظم سلطانك، اللهم أعظم سلطانك وعلى مكانك وخفي مكرك وظهر أمرك وغلب قهرك وجرت قدرتك ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومتك. اللهم لا أجد لذنوبي غافرا ولا لكبائه ساترا ولا لشيء من أبلي الكبيه بالحسن مبدلا غيرك. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك وبحمدك ظلمت نفسي ظلمت نفسي ظلمت نفسي ظلمت نفسي وتجرأت بجهلي وسكنت إلى قديم ذكرك لي ومنك علي. اللهم مولاي كم من كبير سترته وكم من فادهم من البلاء قلته وكم من إسار وكيته وكم من مكروه دفعته وكم من ثناء جميل لست أهلا له نشرته. اللهم أعظم بلائي وفرط بي سوء حالي وكثرت بي آمالي وقادت بي أغلالي وهبسني النفع بود أعمالي وخدتني دنيا بغرورها ونفسي بخيانتها ومثالها. سيدي فأسألك بعزتك ألا يحجبنك دعائي سوء عملي وفعالي ولا تفضحني بخفي ما اطلعت عليه من سري ولا تعاجلني بالعقوبة على ما عملته في خلواتي من سوء فعلي وإساءتي ودوام تفريطي وجهالتي وكثرة شهوتي وغفلتي. وكن اللهم بعزتك لي في كل الأحوال رؤوفا وعلي في جميع الأمور يطوفا. إلهي ومولاي وربي من لي غيرك أسأله كشف الضر ونظر في أمري. إلهي ومولاي أجريت علي حكما اتبعت فيه هوى نفسي ولما احترس فيه من تضيين عدوي فغرني بما أهوى وصدوا على ذلك القضاء فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعد حدودك وخالفت بعض أوامرك فلك الحمد علي في جميع ذلك ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي في قضاءك والزمني حكمك وبلاؤك وقد آتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري وإسرافي على نفسي معتذرا نادما منكسرا مستقيلا مستغفرا منيبا مكرا مذنيا معترفا لا أجد مفرا مما كان مني ولا مخزن توجه علي في أمري غير قبولك عذري وإدخالك إياي في سعة رحمتك. اللهم فاقبل عذري وارحم شدة ضري وفكني من شد وساكي. يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني ورقة جلدي وضيقة عظمي. يا من بدا خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتغذيتي هبني لابتداء كرمك وصالح برك بي. يا إلهي وسيدي وربي أتراك معذبي بنارك بعد توحيدك وبعد ما انطوى علي قلبي من معرفتك ولهج به لساني من ذكرك واعتقده ضميري من حبك وبعد صدق اعترافي ودعائي خاضع لربوبيتك هيهات أنت أكرم من أن تضيع من ربيت أو تبعد من أدنيت أو تشرد من أعويت أو تسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمته. وليت شعري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي أتسلط النار على وجوه خرت لعظمتك ساجدة وعلى ألسن نطقت بتوحيدك صادقة وبشكرك مادها وعلى قلوب اعترفت بإلهيتك محققة وعلى ضمائر هوت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعة وعلى جوارها سات إلى أوطان تعبدك طايا وأشارت باستغفارك مذنية ما هكذا بك ولا أخبرنا بفضلك عنك يا كريم. يا ربي وأنت تعلم ضعفي قليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها ألا أن ذلك بلاء ومكروه قليل مكسور يسير بقاء كثير مدته فكيف احتمالي لبلاء الآخرة وجليل وقوع المكاره فيها وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مقامه ولا يخفف عن أهله لأنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك وهذا ما لا تكون له السماوات والأرض. يا سيدي فكيف لي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحقير المسكين المستكين. يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي لأي الأمور عليك أشكو ولما منها زج وابكي لأليم العذاب وشدته أم لطول البلاء ومدته فلئن سيرتني في العقوبات مع أعدائك وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائك وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك فابني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي وربي صبرت على عذابك فكيف أصبر على فراقك وحبني صبرت على حر نارك فكيف أصبر عن النظر إلى كرامتك أم كيف أسكن في النار ورجاي أفوك فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم صادقا لن تركتني ناتك لأزجن عليك بين أهلها زجيج العاملين ولا أصرخن عليك صراخ المستصرخين ولا أبكين إليك بكاء الفاقدين ولو نادينك أين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين يا غاية أعمال العارفين يا غياث المستغيثين يا غياث المستغيثين يا غياث المستغيثين يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين ويا إله العالمين أفطرك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفته وذاك طعم عذابها بمعصيته وحبس بين أطباقها بجرمه وجريرته وهو يزج عليك زجيج معمل رحمتك وينادي بلسان أهل توحيدك ويتوسل عليك بربوبيتك يا مولاي فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمك ورأفتك ورحمتك أم كيف تؤلمه النار وهو يعمل فضلك ورحمتك أم كيف يهرقه لهيبها وأنت تسمع صوتها وترى مكانها أم كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفه أم كيف يتكلكل بين أطباقها وأنت تعلم صدقه أم كيف تزره زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا رب أم كيف يرجو فضلك في عتقه منها فتتركه فيها هيهات ما ذلك الظن بك ولا المعروف من فضلك ولا مشبه لما عملت بالموحدين من برك وإحسانك فباليقين أقتل لولا ما حكمت به من تعذيب جعديك وقضيت به من إخلاد موارديك لجلت نارا كلها برا وسلاما وما كان لأحد فيها مكرا ولا مقاما لكنك تقدست أسماك أقسمت أن تملها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين وأن تجل سناؤك قلت مبتدئا وتطولت بالإنعام متكرما أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون إلهي وسيدي فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي ختمتها وأقمتها وغلبت من عليه أجريتها أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته، كل جرم أجرمته، كل جرم أجرمته، وكل ذنب أذنبته، وكل كبيه أسررته، وكل جهل عملته كتمته أو أعلنته، أخفيته أو أظهرته، وكل سيئة أمرت بأصبعته الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتم بحفظ ما يكون مني وجعلتم شهودا علي مع جواره، وكنت أنت رقيب علي من ورائهم وشاهد لما خفي عنهم، وبرحمتك أخفيت وبفضلك سترت، وأن توفر هذي من كل خير أنزلت أو إحسان فضلت أو بر نشرت أو رزق بسطت أو ذنب تغفره أو خطأ تستر. يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب. يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك ركي، يا من بيده ناسيتي، يا عليما بذري ومسكنتي، يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب. أسألك بحقك وقدسك وعظم صفاتك واسمعك أن تجعل أوقاتي في الليل والنهار بذكرك معمورة وبخدمتك موصولة وآمالي عندك مقبولة، حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها وردا واحدا وحالي في خدمتك سرمدا. يا سيدي يا من عليه معولي، يا من عليه شكوت أهوالي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب. قوي على خدمتك جواره واشدد على لزيمة جوانه، وهب لي الجد في خشيتك والدوام في الاتصال بخدمتك حتى يسرها عليك في ميعاد السابقين وأسرع عليك في المبادرين، واشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين، وأدنو منك دنو المخلصين، وأخافك مخافة الموقنين، واجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين. اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فارده، ومن كادني فكده، واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نسيبا عندك، وأقربهم منزلة منك، أخصهم زلفة لديك، فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك، وجد لي بجودك، واتف علي بمجدك، وافذني برحمتك، وجل لساني بذكرك لهجا وقلبي بحبك متيما، ومن علي بحسن إجابتك، وقلني أسرتي واغفر لي زلتي، فإنك قضيت على عبادك بعبادتك وأمرتهم بدعائك وزمنت لهم الإجابة، فعليك يا رب نصبت وجهي، وعليك يا رب مددت يدي، وبعزتك استجب لي دعائي وبلغني منايا، ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي، واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي. يا سري الرضا يا سري الرضا يا سري الرضا اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا دعاء، فإنك فعال لما تشاء. يا من اسمه دواء وذكره شفاء وطاعته غنى، ارحم من راس ماله الرجاء وسلاحه البكاء. يا سابق النعم يا دافع اللكام، يا نور المستوشين في الظلم، يا عالما لا يؤلم، صل على محمد وآل محمد. وافعل بما أنت أهله ولا تفعل بما نحن أهله. وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم بحق محمد أنت المحمود، اللهم بحق علي أنت الأعلى، اللهم بحق فاطمة الزهراء أنت فاطر السماوات والأرض، اللهم بحق الحسن أنت المحسن، اللهم بحق الحسين أنت قديم الإحسان. يا قاضي الحاجات اقضي حاجات المؤمنين والمؤمنات. يا شافي الأمراض اشف مرضانا المؤمنين والمؤمنات. يا شافي الأمراض اشف مرضانا المؤمنين والمؤمنات المخصوصين. يا رازق زيادة في الرزق، بركة في الرزق، صحة في الجسم، توبة قبل الموت، مغفرة بعد الموت، نجاة من النار، دخول في الجنة، عافية في الدنيا والآخرة، إنك على كل شيء قدير. رحم الله من قرأ الفاتحة إلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. صلوات. اللهم صل على
صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يوصي نعمه العادون ولا يؤدي حقه المجتهدون، الذي لا يدركه بحد الهمم ولا يناله غوث الفتن، الذي ليس لصفته حد محدود ولا نعت موجود ولا وقت محدود ولا أجل ممدود، فترى الخلائق بقدرته ونشر الرياح برحمته ووتد بالسخر ميدان أرض. ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وحبيبنا وحبيب رب العالمين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين، واللعن على أعدائهم أجمعين من أول يوم ظلمهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المبين وقوله الحق. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولقد كتبنا في الزبور من بعد الذكر أن الأرض يرثها عبادي الصالحون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, because these are the ayyam that or these ayam are getting closer to the wiladat of Imam Zaman alayhi salam, and it becomes necessary for us to know, one, this time that we're living in, how close is it to the time that is described by Amir al-Mu'mineen, by Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, by Imam Hud Baqir alayhi salam, basically by all the Imams when it comes to the zuhur of Imam Zaman alayhi salam. So when it comes to the zuhur of Imam alayhi salam, one of the verses of the Quran that point to the need of Imam Zaman alayhi salam, or to the need of an Imam to be on this earth, is this verse of Surah Al-Anbiya, verse number 105, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَلَقَدْ كَتَبْنَا فِي الزُّبُورِ مِنْ بَعْدَ الذِّكْرِ أَنَّ الْأَرْضَ يَرِثُهَا عِبَادِيَ الصَّالِحُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this verse that, and we have written in the Zabur. What have we written? Which came after the reminder. The Zabur which came after Torah. My righteous servants shall inherit the earth. So it was already written in the Zabur that this earth was supposed to be or intended to be inherited by righteous servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ibadiyas salihun. Correct. The righteous servants. And this is the verse that I want to look at, and then I want to look at, inshallah, today's lecture would be on Imam Zaman. Saturday's lecture, I know Saturday I'm not going to have a lot of time, but whatever time I do have Saturday, it'll also be focused on Imam Zaman, but it'll be focused on Imam Zaman in regarding some of the events that are happening today. Today's lecture is just basically about Imam Zaman alayhi salam from the viewpoint of the Quran, and about just the general signs of his appearance. That's it. Why? Because when it comes to the signs, his signs can be split into a few categories, meaning there are some signs that will happen no matter what, that are meant to happen no matter what, and these are just 5. These 5 signs will absolutely happen before the zuhur of Imam Zaman. And then there are other signs which might happen, which might not. Which might happen, which might not. And the thing is that when it comes to the signs of Imam, if you were to look at all of them, there are over 100. If you just take Amir al-Mu'mineen's sermons where he tells us about the signs of the zuhur of Imam Zaman, and you just look at those sermons, you'll come out with over 80 of what will happen. For example, in Khutbat al-Bayan, there's some things that Amir al-Mu'mineen says that we see that is happening today. Amir al-Mu'mineen says in that khutbah, when a few lines down or a few paragraphs down, Amir al-Mu'mineen describes it. And when he describes it, he says, look, at that time period, what will happen? Men will marry men. Women will marry women. Men will look like women. Women will look like men. If you put that into the time period that we're living in, isn't that what's happening? That's in the society that we're living in the time period that we're living in. Amir al-Mu'mineen described it 1400 years ago, and we're seeing it in front of our eyes today. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he talks about how an individual will be able to see an individual in the west will be able to see an individual in the east, in the palm of his hands. In the palm of, when we look at, to be honest, I can guarantee we look at the palm of our hands, or we've seen the palm of our hands less in one day than we have our cell phones. I can guarantee that. We've looked less at the palm of our hands than we have at ourselves. Why? What do I mean? Out of the 24 hours, 8 hours of sleep, let's see, 6 hours of sleep. The rest of the day, even when you're at work, you have your cell phone in your hand. You're not really looking at your palm, you're looking at your cell phone. But Amir al-Mu'mineen, what did he say? People in the east will be able to talk to, see the people in the west in the palm of their hands. How are they able to do that today? Yes, they are. We're able to do that today. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he talks about, in that sermon, he talks about how there will be a horn that will be created which will do mostly spread nothing but fitna. A horn that will be created which will spread nothing but fitna. What is that? Well, it doesn't exist anymore. What was that? That horn that was created that will spread fitna. The ulama, they've translated that to mean it was those satellites, those antennas, the dish antennas. What were they doing? You still have some today. But what do they do most of the time? They spread nothing but, show nothing but fitna. They show nothing but filth. If you want whatever filth, whatever fitna you want to see, you could buy it. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. But this belief, inshallah, we'll get to the science, but this belief in a savior is not specific to just Shia Islam. This belief in a savior, it exists in every religion. Okay? This belief in a savior. Yes, they have different names. For example, the Christians, what do they believe in? They believe in the second coming of Christ. But they also believe that before Hazrat Isa alayhi salam comes, there will be an individual who will set the stage for Hazrat Isa to come. And they call this individual the Paraclete. They call this individual, they say that the Paraclete will come, he'll set the stage for the coming of Hazrat Isa alayhi salam. In the time of Imam Mehdi alayhi salam, when he is taking control, when that war will happen, inshallah we'll get to that, the war that will happen. Where will Hazrat Isa be? That's when he will come. And what will he do? He'll try to negotiate between the Muslims and the Christians. If you read Sheikh Qurani's book, Ali Qurani's book, Asr Zuhud, I don't know if it's in English, but maybe it's been translated into Urdu, but it is in Alaikum Salam. It's in Arabic and Persian. If you can read Arabic, Persian, by all means, pick up that book. Because as my father said before, he split up that book into all the events that will happen based on geography. Meaning what will happen in Iran, what will happen in Yemen, what will happen in Bahrain, what will happen in Syria, what will happen in Iraq. He split it up based on geography. And when it comes to the things that will happen, for example, in Syria, some of the things have already happened, where Amir al-Mu'mineen, he talks that before the Khuruj of the Mahdi, there will be people that will go by, their names will be names of cities. They'll have black flags. They'll have long hair like women have hair. What will they do? They'll spread nothing but corruption in the land. And they will be killed by greater people that spread corruption. And if you ask the ulama, they say that this has happened now. Which was this? ISIS. You still have remnants of ISIS still today. But that's exactly when you look at how Amir al-Mu'mineen described these groups, and you want to say and look at what's happening today in front of us, it's hard for us not to say that, you know what, this applies to them. When an event happens that we see that Amir al-Mu'mineen talked about 1400 years ago, it's very difficult for us to say, you know what? No, this isn't what Amir al-Mu'mineen meant. Why? Because of the way Amir al-Mu'mineen describes it. He describes it in such details that it's happening right in front of us. It happens right in front of us. For example, Sufyani. One of the signs that is supposed to happen before the zuhur of Imam Zaman alayhi salam is Khuruj of Sufyani. And I'm sure you guys have heard this name over and over again. But Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, they both say that there's three colors that are related to Sufyani. Yellow, red, and blue. Yellow, red, and blue. Inshallah, we'll talk about this on Saturday. But what does Imam Ali alayhi salam mean by yellow, red, and blue? Three colors. These are related to Sufyani. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says that Sufyani, he's been educated in the West. The Sufyani that's going to rise, he's been educated in the West. Amir al-Mu'mineen says, Alaikum salam. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he says that the Sufyani that's going to rise, outwardly he's a Muslim. Outwardly he's a Muslim. But he wears a cross around his neck. He wears a cross around his neck. When you put all of these together, and you look at the colors that Amir al-Mu'mineen described, it seems like he's describing what? The three colors that he's describing the complexion of Sufyani. The complexion of Sufyani. And to the fact that Amir al-Mu'mineen, alaykum salam, Amir al-Mu'mineen, he says that Sufyani, he'll have spots on his face. That's the way Amir al-Mu'mineen describes him. He describes him in detail. But when he will rise, the Muslims will gravitate towards him. Why? Because they're going to think that he's rising up for justice. They're going to think that he's rising up for truth. They're going to think that he's rising up to help the Muslims. But in fact, he's not trying to help the Muslims. He's just trying to help himself. And you see that a lot of the governments, they end up helping Sufyani. And if you think that Shia governments are not going to know, there are going to be people from the Shia governments that are going to side with Sufyani. When Imam Zaman comes, the problem that we have today is that the Shias, they think when Imam Zaman comes, that's it, everything is going to be okay. Imam Zaman is going to come, he's going to take care of everything. We just have to sit at home and do nothing. No, that's not how it works. The narrations state that when Imam Zaman comes and he takes his intiqam, when he takes his intiqam, there are going to be Shias that are going to tell the Imam, why don't you stop what you're doing, you're scaring people. Stop what you're doing, you're scaring people. Shias, not just Shias, ulama, not just ulama, Sadat. Not just Sadat. This individual who's going to tell the Imam, why don't you stop what you're doing, you're scaring people, he's going to have power amongst the Shias. What kind of individual will this be then? Please don't hesitate. Don't hesitate. What kind of individual will this be? No, you'll be munafiq. Yes, that's true. That's true, but what kind of which individual in Shia Islam actually holds authority? Who? Maraja. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. That's the word I was looking for. It's going to be these people that are going to tell the Imam what to do. When this person, the narration says, when this person says this, I believe it was Shuaib ibn Saleh, the other individual who's supposed to rise with the Khurasani, he's going to stand up and he's going to yell at this person to stay quiet, or he's going to cut off his head. When he says this, the Imam, he tells this individual, he tells Shuaib, wait a moment. Imam, he speaks to the Sayyid who's asking him, what proof do you have? Why don't you stop? This Sayyid, he asks the Imam for proof of what he is doing. What does the Imam do? He brings out the letter that Rasulullah had given to everyone to have this passed down through generations until the Mehdi receives it. And what does that letter say? That letter basically says, do not stop for anything. Take the intiqam that needs to be taken. Take the intiqam that needs to be taken. And you have Shia Muslims that think, oh, everything's going to be fine. We don't have to do anything. Which I don't understand. Did the Muslims in the time of the Holy Prophet, did they not have to do anything? The Shias in the time of Imam Ali did they not have to do anything? And Imam Hassan nothing? Imam Hussain nothing? So what makes the Shias of this time think that, oh, they don't have to do anything? That's it, when Imam comes, everything will be fine. No, everything will not be fine. When the Imam comes, that's when the munafiqeen will be differentiated from the salihin. That's when the munafiqeen, true munafiqeen, will be. The narrations, they say that Imam Zaman al-Islam, he is going, sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. After Sufyani does everything that he needs to do, Imam Zaman al-Islam, he goes and he has a talk with him. The narration states that he goes and he has a talk with him. When he has a talk with him, they're going to sign an agreement. When they sign an agreement, what's going to happen? Do you all know? The same thing that happened with Amir al-Mu'mineen. The same thing that happened with Imam Hassan alayhi salam. The same exact thing. Ya Ali, why did you make an agreement with Muawiyah? Ya Hassan, this is kufr. Why did you make an agreement with Muawiyah? The same exact thing. What's going to happen? There are going to be people from Imam Zaman al-Islam forces. What are they going to do? They're going to go to Sufyani. They're going to be people on the Sufyani side. They're going to come to Imam Zaman. This is why it's not something easy. When the Imam rises, the people that are supposed to be with the Imam, when it came to Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam and his people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Hazrat Nuh that, Ya Nuh, the mu'mineen of Hazrat Nuh, they came and they complained to Hazrat Nuh. And they said to him, Ya Nuh, these munafiqeen, these kuffar, they're doing nothing but giving us trouble. They're doing nothing but giving us trouble. Ask Allah, pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He gives us faraj. Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam, he says, okay, he will. He does it. He prays to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Jibreel, he comes. He tells Hazrat Nuh, Ya Nuh, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has accepted your prayer. He has sent these seeds. He wants you to plant these seeds. Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam, he calls his people. He tells them that Jibreel came and he told me this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to plant these seeds. And the faraj will come afterwards. They plant the seeds. What were they? They were date seeds. They were date seeds. He plants those seeds. When these seeds became trees and these trees actually grew, the people, they went to Hazrat Nuh. They said to him, Ya Nuh, where's the faraj? You said that it was going to come after these trees have blossomed. It didn't come. You're a liar. Some of the people, they leave Hazrat Nuh. Some of the people, they leave Hazrat Nuh. Jibreel comes again. He says, Ya Nuh, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He wants you to plant these seeds. When these seeds grow, then the faraj will come. Hazrat Nuh does that again. Again the people come, there's no faraj. What happens? Leave. This happens 7 times. This happens a total of 7 times. When it happens a total of 7 times, that's when that last group of mu'mineen that were there, they went to Hazrat Nuh and they told him, Ya Nuh, we know that you are truthful. If this was to happen until the end of time, we would continue to believe in you. If this was to happen till the end of time, we will continue to believe in you. That's when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells Nuh, Ya Nuh, these are the people I was waiting for, because these are the people that are truly deserving of being saved. These are the people. The ulama, they say that this is what's happening right now in the time of Imam Zaman. Meaning what? The signs come. Imam doesn't appear. Mu'mineen, in quotes. Imam hasn't appeared. Oh, this is just some made up tale. Leave Islam. More signs come. Imam doesn't appear. Oh, this is just a made up, more leave. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just waiting for who? He's waiting for those true mu'mineen that are willing and able to give their life to Imam Zaman. That's it. Where there's no hypocrites. That's what he's waiting for. Why? Because when Imam Zaman appears, where do you think he's going to start cleaning from? He's going to start from within Islam first. He's going to start from within Islam. The first place is going to be Makkah. The first place is going to be Makkah. When he moves away from Makkah, where is he going towards? He's going towards Iraq, where he's going to meet Sufyani's forces. Iraq is a place where Khurasani, Imam Zaman, Yamani, they're all going to meet. That's the place where they're all going to meet. When they have their battle in Iraq and they push Sufyani back, there are going to be Shias in Iraq that come to the Imam and they complain to him. People that were imamas also, Don't think that just because they wear a imamah, that's it. You know what? They're part of Imam Zaman's army. No. If that was true, you have about 20,000, 30,000 people that wear imamahs in Iraq and Iran put together. Imam Zaman has not appeared yet. Just because they wear a imamah does not mean that they're part of Imam Zaman's army. And I'm not saying that because I'm not wearing a imamah. Just know that. Imam Zaman, he's looking for who? He's looking for individuals that will sacrifice their life for whatever command he gives. They'll do whatever he tells them to do. If he tells them to stand, they stand. If he tells them to sit, they sit. Without asking any question. Because when he leaves from Makkah, he's leaving with how many? He's supposed to leave with at least 10,000 people. He's going to leave with 10,000 people. But are those 10,000 people completely loyal to Imam Zaman? No, they're not. And how will Imam Zaman know which one's loyal, which one isn't? On the way to Iraq, he's going to test them. And what's going to be that test? He's going to tell those people, don't drink from this water. Some people will drink. He's going to tell people, you don't need to pack up anything to eat or drink, you don't worry about it. What are people going to do? They're going to pack up like they're going to some vacation somewhere. Imam's telling him, you don't need to pack up, you don't need to worry about food, you don't need to worry about drink. Sallallahu alaihi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Imam's telling him, you don't need to worry about food, you don't need to worry about drink. That will be on me. It's my duty, it's going to be my job to provide. Why? Because that is supposed to be a miracle of Imam Zaman. But what do? They carry. But when it comes to these certain signs, I said in the beginning that there were how many? Thank you so much. Someone's paying attention, mashallah. There are going to be 5 signs that are certain. All the other signs that they could happen, they might not happen. But there have been signs that have already happened. The ulama, they say that some of those signs that could or could not, some of those have already happened. But from the 5 that are supposed to happen, appearance of Sufyani, appearance of Yamani, appearance of Khurasani, correct? The murder of Nafs Zakiyah. And then which one? The army of Sufyani that is going to be swallowed in? No, not Iraq. Between, Arabia. They're going to be swallowed between Makkah and Medina. When Sufyani, he's going to send his army when he finds out that Imam Zaman has appeared in Makkah. What is he going to do? Imam Zaman, the first thing he's going to do is he's going to leave his representative in Makkah. He leaves his representative and he goes with his troops. When he goes with his troops, he gets a message saying that his representative has been killed. He comes back. He tells the people, do not do this again. What do? As soon as he leaves again, they kill the second representative. When they kill the second representative, Imam tells them, he warns them a second time, do not do this again, this is it. Imam leaves his third representative. He goes. When he goes, he gets a message saying that they've killed his third representative. Then he comes back, and that's it. That's when the sword comes out. That's when the sword comes out. And when he finally cleanses Makkah from all of the munafiqeen, that's when he will leave his representative and he'll go on his way to Kufa, on his way to Iraq. And on his way to Iraq, that's where this miracle is supposed to happen. That's where he's supposed to meet the Yamani. And the Yamani, this is the thing. When it comes to the Yamani, Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, he says that when the Yamani rises, every one of you should go under his flag. Every one of you. It's wajib on everyone to obey him. Wajib on everyone to obey the Yamani. Why? Because his standard, his call is the closest to the call of Imam Zaman alayhi salam. Closest to the call of Imam Zaman. What he's calling people towards is the closest to what Imam Zaman alayhi salam is calling people towards. What does this mean? Khurasani is supposed to rise up the same time as Yamani. Shuaib is supposed to rise up at the same time as Yamani. Sufyani is rising up at the same time as Yamani. But we all know that Sufyani is someone that Imam Zaman is going to fight against. But when it comes to the flag of Khurasani and Yamani, the Imams, they say, go to Yamani. Go to Yamani. And where's Yamani coming from? Where? Where? Yemen, thank you. Yes, it's not a trick question. Yamani is coming from Yemen. But Yamani is supposed to come from Yemen. When he comes from Yemen, he will have his own army. When he has his own army, when he meets Imam Zaman alayhi salam, the first thing he does, he knows that that's Imam, but his army is not sure. So to make sure his army knows, the first thing that the Yamani does is he asks Imam Zaman for proof. What Imam Zaman? He goes, what proof do you want? The first thing Imam Zaman does, there would be a bird. The narrations, they say that there's going to be a bird that's going to fly. That bird is going to come on the lap or on the shoulder of Imam Zaman, and it's going to testify to the imamat of Imam Zaman. When it testifies, that's when the army of Yamani, they wonder, yes, this is truly Imam Zaman. This is truly Imam Zaman. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Yamani, the call from the sky, which is supposed to happen when? Who knows? In the month of Ramadan. The call from the sky is supposed to happen in the month of Ramadan. Imam Zaman, according to narration, Imam Zaman alayhi salam Zuhur is supposed to be when? Ashura, thank you so much. The 10th of Muharram. So how long is that between the call and Ashur? 5-6 months basically, correct? The closest sign to the khuruj of Imam Zaman alayhi salam is the murder of Nafs Zakiyah. The murder of Nafs Zakiyah is going to happen in Zil Hijjah. Imam Zaman alayhi salam is going to rise in Muharram. Zil Hijjah, some narrations, they say by the 15th of Zil Hijjah. That's when Nafs Zakiyah will be murdered. Where? In Mecca. Imam Zaman alayhi salam is going to rise in Muharram. So the closest sign to the zuhur of Imam Zaman alayhi salam is Nafs Zakiyah, the murder of Nafs Zakiyah. Before that is going to be the call from the sky. Before that is going to be the khuruj of Sufyani, Yamani and Khurasani. They're all supposed to get up, they're all supposed to stand the same year, the same month, the same day. And the Amir al-Mu'minin, he says that is the month of Rajab. The same year, the month of Rajab, all three of these individuals are going to make their stand. They're all going to make their stand. But it's not as soon as they make their stand, that's it. They're going to completely overtake Sufyani. No. When Sufyani rises with his army, he's going to take over Syria. He's going to take over Jordan. He's going to go to Misr. He's going to go to Morocco. He's going to go to Iraq. The second time when he tries to go to Iraq, that's when Imam Zaman alayhi salam, he meets him. This is how that battle is supposed to be done. And when Imam finally kills Sufyani, even after that, there are going to be Shias that are going to condemn the Imam. What do I mean? After the Sufyani gets killed, Imam alayhi salam, he tells them to bury him. Tells them to bury him. You might be asking, well, if he's not Muslim, why is he? No, even if he's not Muslim, even in Christianity, what did they do? They bury. In Judaism, what did they do? They bury. In the religions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're supposed to bury your dead. Imam alayhi salam, he tells the Shias, the soldiers, to bury him. Some of them know. No. This is who? Shias. You might be thinking, what about the others? There really won't be any others. And that's what everyone needs to understand. There really won't be any others. When I say others, I'm talking about within Islam. Within Islam, there really won't be any others. It's either here or nothing, that's it. But when it comes to others outside of Islam, yes, there's going to be Christians. And that is supposed to be that great war that is supposed to be prevented by the emergence of Hazrat Isa alayhi salam. And Ali Qurani in his book, he says that, look, it's possible that Imam Zaman alayhi salam, he's going to be here on the east, and Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, because there are more Christians on the western hemisphere. Ali Qurani says that it's possible that Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, he lives in the western hemisphere, where Imam Zaman alayhi salam, he lives in the eastern. But what's going to happen? When they sign the treaty, the first people to break that treaty is going to be who? Westerners. They're going to break the treaty. And this is going to happen when? After Hazrat Isa alayhi salam leaves this world. When he leaves this world, when he passes away this time, the narrations state that this time there will be no doubt amongst anyone that Hazrat Isa alayhi salam truly has passed away. Why? Because he will be buried wherever he is. Not wherever he is now. Wherever he passes away, that's where Imam Zaman alayhi salam will bury him. That's where he will be buried. And there will be a mausoleum built, just like the way for the Imams. That's what Amir al-Mu'mineen, that's what Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam say. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. When it comes to other signs of the zuhur of Imam Zaman, for example, there's some narrations that say that there will be a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse in the same month, the month of Ramadan. And other narrations, you see fire in the sky. Other narration, you see before the zuhur of the Imam, there's supposed to be pockets of war, pockets of battle that happens everywhere in the world. And you see that that's already happening. Or it started. When did it start? How did it start? If you want to go back, the fitnat al-Palestine that Amir al-Mu'mineen talks about in Ali Quran, he has in his book, that fitna, me and my father are having debate when this fitna actually started. When was it that this fitna actually started? Because the narrations say that when that fitna starts, it's not going to end until the khuruj of Imam Zaman. When did this actual fitna of Palestine start? And that's what we're having the debate over. Did it start when Israel was created? If it started when Israel was created, then that was the first fitna, and that fitna is not stopping, and there's going to be no stoppage until Imam Zaman appears. No. Is it the fitna that is happening now in Palestine? Whichever is the case, the narrations say that that fitna that is supposed to happen before Imam Zaman's zuhur is not going to stop until Imam rises. It's going to be the Imam that's going to take care of what's supposed to happen in Palestine. 1, 2. You see that before Imam rises, there'll be about 30 Dajjals that will claim to be prophets, that will claim to be Imams. And every time I look online, there's always a new Imam Mehdi that appears. Every time. Like you have one that appears every month now. I'm sure you all are aware of the one that's appeared in Pakistan. I'm sure you guys are aware of the one that's appeared in Europe now. They're every time. But the Imams, they say that when the Imam is rising, there are going to be Dajjals that claim to be Imams. Correct? Frequent and sudden unexpected deaths. That's going to rise. Disease is going to rise. And you see what happened in the last disease that we were stuck with. We couldn't handle it. We barely came up with something, But the next disease that is going to come, the same thing. But what does the Imam say? The Imams, they say that before the Imam rises, pockets of war. Before the Imam rises, diseases that are going to spread, uncurable diseases. Abundance of earthquakes. You see that's happening. And I'm not talking about us Californians, no. Around the world, there's going to be abundance of earthquakes. In California, you have one every week. But outside of California, you see that earthquakes are happening in places that it's never happened for 100 years. The one that happened in Syria, the one that happened in Iran, the one that happened in Morocco, the one that happened in Turkey. You see that these earthquakes, they're happening more and more. And you see that the death toll is rising more and more with each one of these bigger earthquakes. Another one, women will increase in number and men will decrease in number. Which you see that whenever a war happens, the people that go to fight are mostly the men. So when the whole world is engaged in pockets of war everywhere, the women will increase in number, the men will decrease. The death of righteous, knowledgeable people. Another one that the Imams talk about is how the masajid, they will be big, they'll be beautiful, but they'll be empty. They'll be big, they'll be beautiful, they'll be empty. You look at, for example, some of the masajid that exist in the world. For example, the one in Turkey. Masjid, no one's in there. Beautiful, no one's in there. You look at all these other mosques, they're beautiful, but they're not being built for the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're being built, why? For that nafs, for their own nafs. And you see that this happens, forget masajid. You see that this is happening within the Shia community too. Where Hussein, we don't do masajid. Yes, we do what? Centers. We do Hussainiyas, Islamic. We don't call them masajid, we call them Hussainiyas, we call them Islamic centers. Correct? Same thing. People don't come, but the masajid, the Islamic centers are big. And I'm not talking about any specific ones. The land of the Arabs will return to being land of rivers and fields. The land of the Arabs will return. The Romans will form a majority amongst the people. And in the narrations, you'll see a lot. When it comes to narrations, they always talk about the Turks and the Romans. And just about most of the ulama, the majority of ulama, they've interpreted the Turks to mean Russians, and they've interpreted the Romans to mean the Westerners. So wherever you see that phrase in a narration about Imam Zaman alayhi salam, and it says Turks, it does not mean the Turkey that exists today. No. When they're talking about the Turks, they're talking about Russians. And when they're talking about Romans, they're not talking about the Rome that exists today. No, they're talking about the Roman Empire, basically. And right now, where does the Roman Empire exist? And on the west side, on the Western Hemisphere, that's it. So when you come upon the narration that talks about that, just know that those are the two differences. The Euphrates will uncover a mountain of gold, yes. And when this mountain of gold uncovers, 100,000 people will be killed. Why? Because they're all going to go and try to fight for that. And this is supposed to happen on the border of Iraq, on the border of Jordan, and on the border of Syria. On the border of these three countries, this is where this mountain of gold is supposed to appear. And when it appears, 100,000 people are going to go and fight over this mountain of gold, and they're going to be killed. And Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he says that when you hear about this event happening, that this mountain of gold has been uncovered, do not go there, just stay in your own houses. Do not go near it, just stay in your own houses. Why? Because this is how many people are going to be killed. There's going to be much rain, but little vegetation. People will be expelled from Medina. Lightning and thunder will become more prevalent. No truly honest man will remain, and no one will be trusted. And you see that that's already starting within Muslims, that it's very difficult to trust someone. But in the time of Imam Zaman al-Islam, what's going to happen, especially with Sufyani? The narrations, they say that Sufyani, he's going to tell, especially in Iraq, he's going to tell people that if you know a Shia, bring me their head and I'll give you gold. I'll give you money. And people are going to give their own Shia brothers, Shia sisters, saying that this person is a Shia. For what? For money. For money. Much wine will be drunk. People will treat a man with respect because they fear the evil that he can do. And you see that, especially when it comes to, if you're looking at the elections that are going to happen, one of the people that's running, people fear him because of what he can do. They don't fear him because he's a godly person. No, they fear him because of what he can do. But I'm just speaking about the elections that are happening here, but this is everywhere. This isn't something just specific to us here in America. No, everywhere. Any politician that is running, people fear that politician. Why? Because of respect for that politician? No, because they absolutely fear what he can do to them. And you see that happening in Pakistan. Quran will be forgotten and no one will recall their verses. People will start fornicating on the streets. Mecca will be attacked and the Kaaba will be destroyed. This has happened so many times in history, where Mecca was attacked, Kaaba was destroyed. The moon was split in two, but the non-believers will insist that it's not happening. The non-believers will insist that it's not happening. There will be a face and a body that will be seen in the sky. Non-believers will say that it's not real. The call that happens from the sky, the non-believers will say what? It's not real. It's not real. Or, for example, if you look at what Nasr Makaram Shirazi says, he says that what are they going to claim? It's just some sort of instrument that they were using, they were testing. That call from the sky, the West is going to claim that it was some sort of instrument that they were testing. And you see that happens a lot. When they don't want to tell you what it is, or when they know what it is and they don't want you to know, what do they say? It was just some sort of test, that was it, and it ends. But when it comes to Imam Zaman al-Islam, I know I went over these quickly, but inshallah on Saturday, because I don't have much time on Saturday, I know that for a fact. My lecture on Saturday will be about maybe 20-25 minutes because we have amal to do afterwards too. And to be honest, that is the most important part of that night, the amal. And we will do those amal. Don't know how long it will take, but inshallah I will be here. All the amal from the beginning to the end, from the namazes to the Qurans and everything that needs to be recited, it will be recited here. But my lecture on Saturday will not be too long. I'm just going to go over some of those incidents that the Imams have talked about that are happening today in our lives. For example, what's happening in Palestine. For example, what's happening with the Houthis, the Houthi movement. For example, what's happening in, many people have forgotten what's happening in Bahrain. There's also supposed to be an inqilab that's supposed to happen in Bahrain. But inshallah, that will be on Saturday. I think that's enough for today, but are there any questions? Yes. Yes, because there is. The bright side is after all that doom and gloom, then the bright side appears. No, if the only reason there's a lot of doom and gloom is because in the beginning of Imam Zaman al-Islam's harakah, in the beginning of his khuruj, that's exactly what it is. It's war. It's war. And that's what people need to understand. After Imam Zaman al-Islam, after his government is settled, that's where you end up seeing the other part of what the Imams have said. No, there's some narrations that say that before Imam's khuruj, the Iranians are going to take care of it. And whatever is left, then Imam al-Islam, he's going to come and finish. No more questions? That's it? No, that's it. That's the thing. Now, our responsibility, let's say we come across one of those individuals. Okay, let's say that we're, part of that, inshallah. If not the 313, let's say we're part of that first 10,000. The first 10,000. Let's say we're part of that first 10,000. And we see that of those 10,000, one of them doesn't believe in Imam Zaman the way you do. Meaning that your level of understanding, your muhib, your love for the Imam is at a greater level than someone else's. That doesn't mean that you go completely shun them. Okay? What it means is that you don't do anything unless and until Imam tells you to do it. Unless and until Imam tells you to do it. Now when it comes to this maraja, when Imam appears, all this taqleed, it ends, that's it. When Imam appears, taqleed, it completely ends. Then it's just ita'at of Imam. That's it. Or if you look at some of the narrations, they point out saying that you have to do ita'at of Yamani, where the Imams, they say that when he rises, he tells you to do something, you do it. So when Imam appears, taqleed ends, that's it. I mean, it's just limping on right now anyways, so when he appears, it's going to completely end. No, I say it as a joke, but a lot of Shia Muslims, they don't understand how important it is right now. When Imam appears, yes, it has no value unless Imam says yes, but when he appears, that's it. But right now, the Shias, they don't understand that it is important. Why? Because before he went into occultation, Imam, he told us to follow those maraja, follow those individuals that have what? That have taqwa, that have controlled their nafs, follow them. Do what they tell you to do. Okay? When he comes, it gets done, that's it. He's here now. No. Yeah, the Christians who believe that, yes. Okay. Yeah. No, for us, Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, he's going to pass away in the hukumat of Imam Zaman. Meaning that he's going to pass away before Imam Zaman. And Imam Zaman alayhi salam, there are narrations that say that he's going to rule for about 70 years. 70. So within that 70 years of the rule of Imam Zaman, that's when the narrations say that Hazrat Isa is going to pass away. And after Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, after Imam Zaman alayhi salam passes away, then the ruj'at, it begins. And there's a difference of opinion about which Imam comes first. Some narrations, they say that Imam Hussain alayhi salam is going to come, and he's the one who's going to recite the namaz on Imam Zaman alayhi salam. Other narrations, they state that the ruj'at is going to happen backwards, where the 11th Imam is going to come, then the 10th, then the 9th is going to happen backwards until back to the Holy Prophet. Hmm. No, because what the Imam Zaman taking revenge for did not happen in the time of the Holy Prophet. Did not happen in the time of Imam Ali alayhi salam. What is he going to take revenge of? The first thing he's going to do is take revenge of those people that are happy about what happened to Abu Abdullah Hussain alayhi salam. He's going to take revenge on those people. Because we have narrations that say that, especially in the ziyarat that we all read, you come across a verse that says what? May the lawn of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be on anyone that what? Anyone that heard about what happened to you and did not say anything, did not do anything about it. 1, 2, there are narrations from the Holy Prophet who says that if there is a zulm that's happened and you don't even speak out against it, it's as if you've taken part of that zulm. That's a very famous narrative. We have this, the Sunnis have this. So you have Wahhabis every year, they come out and what do? They put out their fatwas against what Imam Hussain alayhi salam did. That's first and foremost, it's that. Because it wasn't for him. It wasn't for him. That revenge was for Imam Zaman alayhi salam from the beginning. It wasn't for any of those imams to do. All those imams, they had their own tasks. This is from narration from Imam Hassan alayhi salam, I believe. The Holy Prophet, there was a letter that came to the Holy Prophet. It was closed up. This letter came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from Jibreel. It was closed up. And the Holy Prophet was supposed to open one part of it. He opened one part, he read what he needed to read. He gave to Amir al-Mu'minin, he told him, whatever is your part, you're supposed to read it, do what you're supposed to do on there, and then give it to the next Naib. It got passed on. That letter got passed on. When Imam Zaman appears, he's going to have that letter. He's going to show that letter, because on that letter it says, take revenge. Stand up, take revenge. That's Imam Zaman alayhi salam's duty. No, Muawiyah does not need to be there, but the people that still have his ideology are still here. The people that have that ideology are still alive. Don't just look at, for example, Fir'aun as an individual. Of what? Yes. No, because he was ordered not to. He was ordered by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not to. That's why he didn't. Or else he was ready to. When it comes to Hazrat, I'm glad you brought up Hazrat, when it came to the shahadat of Hazrat Hamza alayhi salam and the way that his body was mutilated, the Holy Prophet said that I'm going to do that to every single one of them. The same thing that they did to my uncle Hamza, I'm going to do that to every single one of them. The Holy Prophet had said this. That's when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the Holy Prophet through Jibreel, "O my Prophet, if you forgive them, it's better for you." So it was ordered by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the Holy Prophet to forgive. That's why he forgave. Hatta he forgave the murder of Hazrat Hamza. But he told him, I'm not going to look at you, but I forgive you, that's it. But that's what he was ordered to do. Now Imam Zaman alayhi salam, he's not ordered to forgive, that's it. He's ordered to take revenge, that's it. He's not taking revenge on an individual, he's taking revenge on an ideology. No, he's taking revenge on, not depending on what their idea. No, it's just that ideology. That Yazid was right. What Yazid did was right. That ideology that what Muawiyah did was right. That ideology that what those three did was right. So that ideology, whatever ideology is, it's within an individual. He can't just take out that ideology. No, that to completely destroy an ideology, what needs to happen? If you want to completely get rid of an ideology, what needs to happen? You see, when you think about it, you start questioning like, oh, you know what, the Imam's going to do this? Yes, he's absolutely going to do that. And that's exactly why one of the, like I said in my speech, one of the Sayyids, he's going to stand up and he's going to tell the Imam, what are you doing? You're scaring people. What are you doing? You're scaring people. Do you have any proof from the Holy Prophet for you to do what you're doing? That's when the Imam, he's going to show him the piece of paper that tells him that to take revenge, to do what he's doing. Any other questions? Yes, he's going, yes, I know what Tayyab is. I'm not afraid to say it. He's going to bring those two, he's going to bring Abu Bakr, Umar out of their graves and he's going to burn them. Narrations state that. But even when he does that, what is the first thing he's going to do? He's going to hang them on a tree. When he hangs them on a tree, that tree, it's a completely dead tree. That tree is going to become green. When it becomes green, there are going to be Shias that say, oh my goodness, this is a miracle. We've been lied to. We have these narrations, yet the Shias are still going to do that. That's what's amazing. What are they going to say? We've been lied to. If these two individuals are truly evil, then how did this tree become green? And they're going to switch. We have the narrations, they're there. Then that's what the Imam's going to do. In fact, there's some narrations that say that specifically the second one, he's going to bring him alive and he's going to tell him. He's going to tell him, accept the wilayat of Amirum. No, I'm not. No. So yes, there are some individuals, but this revenge on specific individuals that Imran Bhai was asking about. Look, in the Rojat, the best of the best are coming back to life. The worst of the worst are coming back to life. The best of the best and the worst of the worst. So whoever you think to be the worst of the worst in Islam, and I'm sure everyone here would agree that Yazid was one of them. So he's going to come back. And revenge will be taken. Because the Rujat, the Imams, they're governing for a different amount of time. All the Imams are governing, but they're governing for a different amount of time. So it's not that, oh, there's constant fighting throughout. No. In the Rujat, they're all coming at the same time. That's it. Once the evil has been cleansed, they're not coming back again. So in whatever Imam's time that the Rujat happens in, it's going to end in that time too, when the evil gets destroyed. It's not like, for example, if the Rujat happens in, I'm giving you an example, please do not take this as literal, but if the Rujat happens in, for example, Imam Hussain, if he was to come back after the Shahadat of Imam Zaman, if Rujat was to happen in Imam Hussein's time, they will be completely killed, and there is no, them coming back, for example, in Imam Ali's time. No, there are narrations that say that the ones that, they will get shaheed, but the ones that were struck by the sword, then they will be poisoned. Then the ones that were poisoned, then they will be shaheed. They'll be struck. Evil will not be completely gone until Amir al-Mu'mineen and the Holy Prophet come back and they kill Shaitan. We have that riwayat too. The ones that were killed without? No, the only type of people, for example, we have narrations that state that for Dua Nutbah, anyone that recites Dua Nutbah constantly, doesn't matter how they pass away in their bed, pass away by accident. If there's certain amal that if you do, you will come back in Ruj'at and be with Imam Zaman. So it's for those individuals, yes, that have done those type. But no, not for the normal. For the normal people, there is no Ruj'at. Yes. No. I haven't come across a hadith that says the Ruj'at is for those types of people. Which Imam? Narrations, they say about 70 years. No, not in that 70 years. No. After the 70 years, then the Imams are coming back one after another. For example, like I said, some narrations, they say that Imam Hussain is coming back. Right after the Shahadat of Imam Zaman, Imam Hussain alayhi salam. And the narrations say that Imam Hussain, he's going to rule. Some narrations say about 5,000 years. Qayamat is coming way after Rujat. Qayamat is coming way after that. No. बाज़ रवायतों में यह है कि इमाम हुसैन के बाद फिर रसूल खुदा से, बाज़ रवायतों में यह है कि इमाम हुसैन के बाद फिर इमाम हसन अस्करी आएंगे, फिर बैकवर्ड चलेगा. हाँ, यस जी. There are some narrations that say that, yes. Yes. Because, like I was saying, that the Nazariya, the Yazidi Nazariya, it exists. That Nazariya still exists. So when Imam Zaman comes, he's taking revenge because those people have that Nazariya. Meaning what? That if they were alive in the time of Yazid, they would have joined Yazid. If they were alive in the time of Muawiyah, they would have joined Muawiyah. So Imam Zaman al-Islam, he's killing these people. And that's what it means when we say that he's taking intiqam. Because if they were truly alive in that time, because of their ideology, they would have sided with Yazid. But like I said, Imam Hussain al-Islam is coming back. And there's differences about exactly what is going to happen in each Imam's ruj'at. There's differences of what's going to happen. But there is one thing that will happen, especially in Imam Zaman's time. The knowledge that we have today is basically 2 letters of it, that's it. The knowledge that, the narrations, they say that when Imam comes, the knowledge that the mu'mineen will have will far exceed what knowledge anyone else has. No. क्या मतलब है? हाँ. क्यों?